Hello guys, and welcome back to Midwest Coasters. I'm Anderson, and today we are going to be talking about a theory of why X-Flight was created, and that it was planned all along as an expensive addition. So essentially, I'm just theorizing based on other additions, and it's going to be a fun video on the Coaster Concept playlist. If you guys want a shout out, comment below Midwest Coasters, and you'll get a shout out in a future video. Today's shout out is Axis Coasters. They've been a viewer, commented a bit, and they commented on one of the other videos, so shout out to them. Anyway, let's get straight into today's video. So this is going to be a really short theory, but essentially I'm going to be talking about all of Great America's additions and how they're all connected to be cheap, so that they could make X-Flight, and it was all going along. You'll also notice during this period, all of the other parks were receiving cheap rides and clones as well. So essentially, X-Flight came in the year 2012. Before that, the 2 years before that, the park had a water park edition and the Little Dipper. The 2 years after that, they got Ignite, which is a 40th year celebration that would also have been a very cheap edition, as well as Goliath, which is cheap. So you're looking at those 4 years, the maybe most expensive thing would have been the water park editions. After that, you had 3 kids rides they reinstalled very cheap, and 3 more clones right after that before 2019 they got Max Force. So essentially, it's a bunch of cheap clones, one after another, continuously. So that shows that they were, essentially they were just cloning rides and getting the cheapest possible solutions for this park. So clearly they were saving up in some way for some ride, or just generally they're a cheap company. And I think the park has been planning this B&M for a while. If you look at Great Adventure, they have 5 B&Ms, I believe. Magic Mountain has 4, and this park, I should check, but only has around 4 B&Ms, maybe 3 at the time. They had Raging Bull, Batman the Ride, and they didn't get a floorless, but they had the Flying Coaster, Superman Ultimate Flight. Now they did not have a floorless or a stand-up coaster. You'll notice that. Whereas the other 2 biggest Six Flags parks had both, I believe. So now that you're noticing that, it essentially means they had to have been planning another B&M or another big coaster for this park to really round it out and make it compete with the other 2 larger parks. And I don't think they got a floorless or a stand-up because of the rest of the coasters that were already there in the lineup. They had Demon, which was a good looping coaster. They also had a few other general looping coasters at the time, but you'll notice that essentially they didn't necessarily need another major looping coaster, another floorless, and a stand-up, and those were probably getting more expensive as less and less parks were buying them. And Six Flags wasn't buying them in bulk anymore, so it wasn't going to be cheap for the company to just make that. So they probably went with the next cheapest model, or one of the cheapest, on B&M's list, and that would have been their new project, which was the Wing Coaster. And getting the, second or third Wing Coaster, they made X-Flight probably for a relatively cheap cost. Comparatively, they paid $15 million for X-Flight. Now, I don't think the rest of the company was suffering, but you'll notice the rest of the park's additions around that time were nothing major. Clones and relocations, as well as a awesome RMC for a cheap price. So I think that, to generally sum it up, the park had gone cheap, and this is the biggest park, so they wanted something major. In the park, to round out their collection, they added probably the cheapest B&M at the time for $15 million, X-Flight, to really round out this park's lineup for a looping coaster that was both relatively cheap but also expensive enough to satisfy the crowds. So that is my theory today on the Coaster Concept playlist, and I hope you guys like it. I didn't spend a ton of time, but I did have to do quite a bit of research making this, even though it is a quite short video. So thank you guys for liking, subscribing, and following, and I'll see you guys next time on Midwest Coasters. Comment below if you guys want to shout it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.